Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Canary Room. Back in the room. It's been a while, hasn't it? We haven't been back here for a while. This is part one, actually, of a two-part look at the young from the 2024 breeding season. So today we'll be in my room, and by the magic of video editing we will be joined by Gerald Spencer. There will be a slight continuity issue because I'm wearing a different t-shirt. That's because he came to visit a week or so ago now. So we will catch up with Gerald later on in this episode, and then we will make the trip across the Pennines to go and see Gerald and see the rest of the Fife Canaries from the Spencer Eld partnership for the 2024 show season. So, you know what to do if you haven't subscribed already, everyone. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. Thank you, everyone, for the feedback on our episodes with Keith Ferry and Andy Early. Two wonderful birdmen, wonderful human beings as well. So really look forward to that show. We've got lots to look forward to in the Canary Room over the coming months. We have been to see the legend, the all-time greatest ever border canary breeder. It is, of course, Mr. Phil Warren. So there's an episode coming up from Phil's house. It's filmed. It's in the edit at the moment. That will be out towards probably end of August, early September. So hopefully that'll be something for you all to look forward to. We have another return visit as well to Pete Harrison. So we'll go and see Peter Harrison. That's scheduled to be filmed towards the end of August, early September, so that'll be out mid to end of September as well. Got lots more on the road trips planned. I will be judging in New York in early October, so I'll take the camera with me. I will be over to Dublin in Ireland as well. Mid-October, I will be at Trent Valley Budgerigard Society show, Platinum show as well. So a little bit fair, because I know we've got a number of Budgie followers who follow the channel. Thanks, everyone. So we'll be there too. We'll, of course, take the camera with me across the show season to capture the highs and lows. And there'll be a few more episodes from the room as well. But if you don't follow us on Facebook, you may have seen, or you may not have seen, that this will be the final series of the Canary Room. Now, I was inundated with messages of thanks, which was lovely, a little bit of sorrow, which was lovely, and a variety of things. And I really wanted to say, look, thank you everyone who supported the channel. We are edging closer to 19,000 subscribers. I still hope to get 20,000 before the end of the year. So if you haven't subscribed, please jump on and subscribe and hit the like button if you enjoy the film. I am not hanging the camera up, but the sort of the contributing factor of, you know, breeding a stud of canaries, of making sure that I can be a father to my children, and occasionally a husband to my wife, and making sure that I get the right balance with work as well is increasingly difficult. And so what that means is that the fortnightly shows, sometimes weekly shows, will be no more from 2025, but it doesn't mean there won't still be content on the channel. Okay, so I've been working pretty much tirelessly over the last sort of 6 weeks or so since I made the announcement to come up with a series of ideas, mini-series, and so on and so forth, to keep bringing you quality content. And that's what I've endeavoured to do over the last 8 years. It's never been about quantity of content from the Canary Room. It's always been about quality of content, and that, I guarantee, I will keep producing for you in 2025 and, God willing, beyond. So, you know what to do, everyone. Grab yourself a cuppa. It's been a while since I've said that. Grab yourself a cuppa, sit back, and enjoy the show. So as we sort of canter through August now, the young are in single cages. All of the young are in single cages. I'm pleased to say I've got some empty cages as well, which is great from a sort of husbandry and management perspective. They are paired off. So on the wall here to my left, we've got the vast majority of the dark birds. There are a number of blues within there as well. There is a single cinnamon and a couple of fawns. And on the wall to my right, we have the clear and ticked and lightly variegated birds. There is still on that wall a couple of young dark birds which are now picking up and feeding. The hen is still within that cage at the moment, but that's the last nest, and you might be able to tell, I'm not sure if you can capture it on camera, but I've done now the deep clean of after the sort of post-breeding season deep clean. I try and keep on top of stuff throughout the breeding season, but you know, it's a practical breeding working room, and as a consequence it does get a little bit messy, but everything's been cleaned down, the cages have been washed out and bleached, and they're now got their young birds in who are coming through the molt quite nicely. Bird keepers will know that August is pretty much when you could make an entire duvet, never mind a pillow, of feathers from your birds. So looking at the birds, looking at the breeding season, I ended up bringing 62 young Fife, which was, after a very good start, was a relatively moderate end, to be fair. I had thought that perhaps I'd get a few more on the sticks, but that wasn't to be. The birds will tell you when they've had enough, and they told me. So wanted to get a nice clean molt away. The adult birds are in the top flight birds. The adult birds that will be retained are in the top flight cages there, and some of the adult birds just before they broke into the molt have now left the room. So those are birds that I won't use next year for a variety of different reasons. The main one being that I've got stock to replace them with. Not, you know, some fantastic quality birds amongst them. Some have bred really nice young for me, but always looking forward, always looking at progressing the stud moving forward, and that's absolutely key and absolutely critical. So many breeders will tell you, and I will tell you exactly the same, the molt is a really interesting time. I find the dark birds generally keep their shape so you can see them early on, and generally speaking they keep their shape, they fill out. So they get a bit of broadness to them, they get a bit more back feather on them, and of course the heads are pretty much the last thing to finish in the molt. So the dark birds are looking nice. There is there's a couple that have really caught my eye, which is good. If you remember last season in the Canary Room, I think we bred 4 and we lost 2 of those in the molt, 4 dark birds. So this year there are sort of 3 rows nearly of dark birds, which is brilliant. And actually I think the breeding ratio is probably a few more dark birds to light birds in the room this year. I'm not really that bothered about the colour. I'm all very much interested in the quality. So there look to be some quality birds here. Let's see what my showing partner thought. Well, listen, everyone, as I've already said, and I might have changed clothes, this is part 1. It might actually be the same part together, but we're in end of breeding season. We're in my room. There's Mr. Spencer there. I didn't drink anything last night, everyone. As you can see, I'm looking fresh. And Mr. Spencer had a glass or 2 of Newcastle Brown. That's right, isn't it?
And a Thatcher's cider.
And a Thatcher's cider, yeah. Not to forget the Thatcher's cider. So.
That was nice, that. Yeah,
it was. And we had steak, didn't we? So on the hook, it was massive, to be honest. We had 3 of us eating it and we couldn't finish it. So, so yeah, because we're athletes, obviously. So we're here, and you've had a little look.
I've had a little look there. They've got 1 or 2 that's very promising.
1 or 2, you see, the one thing I've loved about Gerald all of the time I've ever known him is that the conversation is there's 1 or 2 I like, which generally means when you're talking about his shed that there's loads that he likes, but there's 1 or 2 in here, isn't there?
No, there is, definitely.
So at the moment, as I've probably said
it. Fawn, probably.
Yeah, nice and levelly variegated, couple of nice clears and
blues,
a couple of blues. So Yeah, there's one or two. I think what we're going to do, and I might do this on the main camera, but what we are going to do, I think we were talking last night, is move the show team to yours, and keep the show team in Gerald's for two reasons really. Nobody benches a bird, I don't think, like Gerald. And he's got a little bit more time than I have, so to do the birds that are bred in here justice, as well as the birds that are bred in Geralds Room's justice. That's the plan, mate, isn't it?
Well, I said that last night, didn't I?
You did. That
was my idea.
It was your idea, and it was a good idea.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it is. It'll be better in my shed. The show team sort of thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So that's what we'll be doing.
You might fetch some through and fetch them back.
Yeah. That'll probably happen, everyone. That'll probably happen. I will be over to Gerald's in the next week or so you'll have to wear that jumper again for continuity, that t-shirt, for continuity purposes, and I'll have to wear this one for continuity purposes. But we might look a little bit different because some time will have elapsed between the two visits. So, good trip.
Good trip.
So, Gerald, as always, giving his one or two I like, which is encouraging. We move over to the other side of the shed, the other side of the room. We've got the light birds, and one thing that many breeders who keep light birds will tell you, and it's one of the things that I sort of always focus on, is I'm not studying these as much, and the reason I'm not is that the light birds in particular, and it's a visual trick of the eye, the light birds in particular go through a number of different stages. When they come out the nest, they look fantastic. They look absolutely wonderful. And then, as Keith mentioned in the video I did with him, they go through a long stage, and they look long, a little bit snaky. They haven't got the back, they haven't got necessarily the position, and then they start to come back. But they seem late coming back, certainly later than the dark birds. I've got a few dark birds which are in a really good place, probably just the heads to finish. I've got a few light birds which still kind of nowhere near where they need to be, and there's a few later bred light birds in there. But overall, the quality seems to be there. There's a couple of really nice light buff hens that have taken a shine into. There's a couple of nice light yellow hens as well, and there's a couple of variegateds which could do well later in the season. So I guess for this sort of part one in my room with the Fife Canaries, I would conclude that it's been a really good season in terms of quality. It's been a good-ish season in terms of quantity. You do want the factors too, but across the two rooms, the quality and quantity is there, and that's really the benefit, I guess, of the partnership this year. If one has a better breeding season than the other, then the partnership can only do well from it. That will mean, of course, that because there's a volume of birds bred, that there will be a surplus of birds available. So message me on Facebook if you're interested in any of our surplus for this year, and I will endeavour to sort you out. So Fife-wise, that's where we are up to with the Fifes. Let's have a check-in now with the Redpoll Diaries. Redpoll-wise, it's been another really good season, and so, as I've just said with the Fifes, if you are looking for pied mutation Redpolls, drop me a message. I will get them DNA sexed later on in August, early September, and so I'll know what I've got to go. But we bred a total of, I think, 15 Redpolls. There's 12 visual pieds. There is one split normal visual split for pied. There is one cobalt, which was a little bit disappointing because I did have a couple of pairs of cobalts this year. I'm actually hoping, and this almost never happens when you're breeding birds, I'm actually hoping it's a cockbird because I do have a spare cobalt hen, and that would mean I've got 2 pairs of cobalts to run for next year. I do like the mutation cobalts. All of the adult birds are sort of in these 2 flight cages, and there are some young in one of these flight cages, and then the remaining young are in the bottom flight cage. and they're just going through the molt at the moment. So I'm giving them a little bit of Carafil, just sprinkled on egg food every other day or so. Not too much. I'm not going to be exhibiting them. I'm not concerned about the colour on them. It's only because I think the coloured birds look a little bit nicer if they are colour fed up. What I have found interestingly is just putting a little drop on, and the poll, the colour on the poll has come through on the unflighted birds. And then, well, we had a really good end to the season with the redpolls, in that I bought in a split Isabel. Now, I've had Isabels before in the Canary Room. I think they're one of the nicest mutations. I had a split Isabel cockbird, and I paired it with a normal hen, and fantastically I bred one bird out of it, but that bird was an Isabel. So my understanding of the sex linkages is that hen, well, that bird will be a hen, beg your pardon. So there is one little Isabel hen there. Unfortunately, the split-pied cock died, so I will be on the hunt to try and either bring in another split Isabel cockbird or a visual Isabel cockbird. But I do like this little hen. She's a sweet little thing. And I like the redpolls full stop. So they will remain in the Canary Room for next year. Just a little update on the bullfinches behind me. Unfortunately, I lost the male. The male was went down very quickly, and anyone who keeps bullies will know once they've gone, they're pretty much gone. Had a goldfinch cockbird that was left. I'd lost a couple of the hens through the molt, actually. They just balled up, and that can happen with them, stress at the like. So what I did was I put the goldfinch cock in with a bullfinch hen. This is an 8-foot flight cage. They fed, he's displayed to her. They've done all kinds of stuff, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave them together. I'm going to leave them together for the time being, probably into next year, and see if we can't do any Goldie Bully hybridizing on natives, because I think that's a really nice hybrid. The plans for outside, if you watch the native diaries, the plans for outside at the moment are on pause. I've got lots of the equipment I need. I've got the feeders that I got off Darren. I've got the wire. I've had the wire for a while now. I just need to get the groundwork done. And to be fair, with everything else going on at the moment, I haven't got the time, or haven't had the time to do it. So I will get it done. Maybe that'll be a video for next year. So that's our redpolls. Let's finish off with the Norwich, shall we? I have to admit of being slightly envious when I visited Keith Ferry's Norwich room this year and saw all his wonderful young Norwich, because I have one, just one young Norwich. It's in a double breeder on its own at the moment. I am giving it a little bit of Carafil, but I'm not really that interested in colour feeding it. I won't have a Norwich show team with one bird in it, and although I did breed a bird last year, a buff hen, which is a very nice bird, she's worth more to me in the breeding room than she is in the showroom. So there won't be any Norwich on the bench this year. My ambition is to get Norwich on the bench in future. So hopefully I'll be able to pick up a trio or two from Keith just to re-cement the lines. Reviewed what I've done with the Norwich this year, and I think I spent too much time on the Fifes, and yeah, I've got to think about that moving forward, and we have a responsibility to the birds that we keep. You know, the Norwich were well fed, well cleaned, well looked after, they were trimmed. The challenge is I didn't quite get them into the condition I needed them to, and then when I did, I didn't have necessarily the feeding birds to be able to help with the young. I did get 5 Norwich away, but I lost 4 of them, which is really disappointing. So again, just got to look at that, got to look at some of my technique and some of my methods. But hey, what? Do you know, those are the breaks of bird keeping, aren't they? So listen, everyone, it was a relatively short stop in the Canary Room this time round. If you've enjoyed the video, please hit a like, hit a thumbs up, and please, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, come on. I will be out and about over the next few months, as I mentioned at the head of the show. So lots more really good content to come on the show. And of course, we will keep our regular little updates from the Canary Room as well as we see the birds through the molt and getting ready for the first show of the season. So thank you very much indeed for watching, everyone. Until next time, take care.